My name's Andrew Reeves-Hall. I'm one of the campaigners to try to save the Harvest Home pub behind me. Well, what I'd like to see happen is that the council applies what's called an Article 4 direction to stop this demolition right away, and then see a planning application put in so that people of Whitchurch can have a say in what happens in their town. This is a locally listed building, which should afford it some protection, but it doesn't. The main reason that Basingstoke Dean isn't going to apply the Article 4 direction is for fear of liability. They think that basically the developer is going to sue them. Hello, what's your name?
I'm Colin Reeves.
What do you think about the Harvest Home situation?
I think it's sad that we've lost another pub. There used to be 17 here apparently.
But do we need that many pubs in town?
I don't think Whitchurch can probably support another pub. That's the problem. We've got some really nice, places to go and eat here. It's just a shame to see what's going to happen with that building. Is someone going to build some houses that are going to go with the rest of the street? Is it going to be knocked down? Are flats going to be put up? Who's got the say in that, and who's actually going to ask the questions at the end of the day?
Well, currently, right now, there's no one has a say in that. Basingstoke Dean aren't having a process in place to let people have a say.
I thought this was democracy where we could all ask questions, and especially a place like this. There's very few rural places left of this size. We're hemmed in obviously by the geography here, and it's quite nice that we've kept our size and our shape as a town. A lot of places just grow out and start losing their individuality. I think Whitchurch has got its own, and we should be able to keep it and have a say on what's going on here.
Hello, what's your name?
My name is Paula Stead.
The Harvest Home is scheduled for demolition. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a pity that it's going to be knocked down, and it's also a pity that we haven't had a say in whether it is knocked down or left as a building. It's a lovely building. It was a well-used pub, and it's a real pity that it's going.
If you had a say, what sort of thing, as an idea, would you like to see it turned into?
I think as a building it would be a lovely residential home. It's on a large plot that goes down to the River Test. Otherwise, if it has to be destroyed, if it has to be razed to the ground, I think it would be a lovely park, could be a lovely flower garden, rose garden, memorial garden for people in that part of the town to sit and use.
Hello, what's your name?
My name's Janine Cromarty.
And what do you think about the Harvest Home being demolished by the developer?
I think it would be a real shame. I see it as a building in the middle of Whitchurch, and I would like to see it renovated to use as a community centre. It's got a lot of rooms in there, a lot of different clubs could use it, and I'm sure that it could make money.
Right now, Basingstoke Dean, though, they have this ability to try to allow locals to have a say, but they're not using it. It's called Article 4. I wonder what you think about that.
It's quite simple, it's wrong. There's no other word to say about it. If you should have a consultation process, it should happen. And if it's not, then we need to know why. They need to be accountable for that.
Hello, my name's Andrew Reeves-Hall. I live in beautiful Whitchurch here in Hampshire, United Kingdom, and the reason for this video is to try to raise some awareness about something that we don't have control over, and I wish we did, and that's the demolition of a locally listed building called the Harvest Home Pub. Very briefly, it's a pub that was open right up till September of last year, but then the owner then shut it down, and next we heard was that it had been put up for sale and sold to a developer, and the developer put in notice that they're going to demolish the place. What's particularly upsetting about it, as I said, is that it's a locally listed building, which we thought meant it afforded a bit more protection by our local council, but apparently that seems not to be the case. The developer, because they put in this notice of demolition, as soon as that's approved, that's it, the place is gone. And the thing is, the local council has no right to say no to that demolition notice. It's just the notice, literally, just a notice that they're going to demolish the place. Next step was to put in a planning application. Well, by the time they put the planning application in, the place will have been demolished. I'd like to see the process put the other way around. I'd like to see the planning application put in, and if it includes demolishing the place, well, so be it, but at least then the planning application can be talked about and debated by our elected councillors with input from local residents and even the wider Basingstoke area. The key thing is that Basingstoke and Dean, our local council, hold the keys of control here. They're the ones that are our local planning authority. They're the ones that can say no to demolition. But how can they say no? Well, they have to do something special. It's called an Article 4 direction, and that stops the demolition until there's a planning application, which to me seems to be the right thing to do. for a little bit more detail, and if you'll stick with me, it's quite interesting. Maybe it's just interesting to me, I don't know. Hopefully it's a little bit of interesting to you. The background to a bit more of this. The reason why the council don't want to put an Article 4 direction on is that they're afraid of being sued by a developer. And I just think that's going again to this point that we've got the cart before the horse here. They're afraid of the developer suing them, so therefore they're not going to stop the developer from demolishing the place, so that the developer can then put in an application to say, oh, we want, I don't know, a Starbucks, or maybe they want to have housing go into the place. We just don't know at this point. I'd like to see those two things put the other way around. The council seems not to agree with me. However, on a local level, our Whitchurch Town Council, which is made up of volunteers, elected volunteers, all of them elected recently, they wrote a letter in support of the Harvest Home Pub and the campaign to try to save it. They wrote to the Basingstoke Deanne in July of this year, and I'll just quote a few bits from here. It's a long letter, but a very good one in my opinion. Just a couple of key points from it. Whitchurch Town Council and a considerable number of residents are very concerned that we are not being properly consulted by Basingstoke Borough Council regarding buildings considered of local importance in the town. They go on to say they feel they're not being afforded sufficient protection, and that, and here's the important bit, it seems that developers have found a way to exclude elected town councillors and local residents from the crucial early stages of consultation. Losing its highly valued shops, Whitchurch losing its highly valued shops, pubs and valued buildings that are so important to our community, to be frequently replaced by housing development that has little regard for the town's existing local character and social fabric. So that's what residents are telling the town council and what they're telling Basingstoke Deanne. They go on to say about another pub that was in town called the Railway Hotel. It's located up by our train station, which is a 1-hour train journey outside of London Waterloo. The Railway Hotel pub was demolished last year without any public consultation. Same situation, and now that is just a temporary car park. There's no sign of any housing or anything going on to that. It's just been flattened and left to be a car park now. Which doesn't seem quite right to me. A local hub of social character where people were able to congregate and get together and over a beer or maybe a coffee or have a light snack at the place. Same thing's happening now at the Harvest Home. We had another social hub, a social community in the pub, with all of its respective influx of cash and money coming from all the different suppliers and local supporters and supporting the local area. And we have the same situation where this place may be just demolished and all of that income for the town lost. So the town council, in their letter, they go on to say, it seems a retrograde step not to recognise local feeling towards the history, character and social amenities of where they live. What is the point of a village design statement, which we have, or a town plan, which we're working on, if the Borough Council ignores what Whitchurch wants? And that was echoed by our local Basingstoke councillor, Councillor Keith.Watts recently, when he said, thousands of words written about conservation and planning are seen to be vacuous in the hands of spineless council leadership. Now for the other side of things, we have CllrRob.Golding, who is the cabinet member in Basingstoke Deanne for planning, transport and infrastructure. He said on Kestrel FM radio yesterday, on Thursday, we don't think that it is an issue where it would be right to ask taxpayers across the borough as a whole to pay compensation for something that's a local matter for Whitchurch. Well, two things there. The reply to the Whitchurch Town Council, the letter from Basingstoke Deanne, essentially said, we're not going to put on the Article 4 direction because we're afraid the developer will sue us for £100,000. And of course that'll be borne by all the taxpayers. Key things here is there's no proof that there's any liability, certainly not in the realms of £100,000. No one's ever been sued for that amount. The developer hasn't threatened that at all. This is just nervousness on the behalf of Basingstoke Council. They're nervous that a developer will be suing them. So by not doing something, not acting on the residents' behalf and not acting on a locally listed building with them, just because a developer may possibly, hypothetically, sue them, doesn't seem right to me. The second point to make on here is they say it's a local matter for Whitchurch. And I'll say, for what John Buckley said here, I'll quote what John Buckley said, who's our local camera director. He said, all the decision power is with Councillor Golding and Basingstoke Council. Have they abdicated their responsibilities towards anyone outside Basingstoke? Or is it that by releasing land for housing here in Whitchurch, it'll mean less pressure on his own ward? Interesting point. Councillor Golding also went on to say, if it was demolished, and there was a planning application for something to go in its place, well, then there would be certainly opportunities for the public to make their views known. So once it's demolished, you can have your say. I don't think that's right. What can you do? You can write to Councillor Golding at Basingstoke Council. You can also write to our local councillor, CllrKeith.Watts. I'd include in there our local town council as well, the clerk of the town council, and if you could, the town website, so that we can share your information and share your feelings with the wider public. Because I think this is something that is important to Whitchurch. It's important to the borough because it's the local planning authority for all of the towns and villages that are around here, not just the Basingstoke city, large town. Please, write a letter. It really would help. Cheers and thanks.